This is Tanaka Ranichindom representing Golden Cloud Network. Before we start today's video, we want to express our condolences to the families of the people that lost their loved ones today in the Seke Road accident. May their souls rest in peace. But life goes on, and today we're going to be talking about the WWE business. And no, we're not talking about wrestling. We're talking about water, waste, and energy. These three elements are key in our day-to-day lives. We cannot live without water. We cannot live without energy. We cannot live without managing waste. These are huge loads to carry. There are a lot of businesses that you can start, but these are big businesses that come with a lot of responsibility because you're moving products that people depend on at a high level. We're not talking about something that people have the option of choosing. We're not talking about items that people can live without, but people cannot live without these elements. So to handle such elements comes with huge responsibility. And with huge responsibility, this is reflected by the capital that is needed to start these businesses. These businesses are not started by petty cash. These businesses are started by large sums of money that need to be raised and that need to be channeled into the business for it to move successfully. Let's start with the water business. Frankly speaking, we cannot rely on the city council water. Most of Zimbabwe cannot rely on the city council water. So people took it upon themselves to find a way to provide water for themselves, to provide a constant and reliable source or supply of water for themselves. This is where the gap arises for people to come in and supply water to those that need water. So that's one business. But how? Where are these people getting the water? So there are actually two ways in which water can be supplied to an individual. One, borehole drilling. This is a big business that is very popular these days. Almost everywhere you go, you might come across a firm that specializes in borehole drilling. This is one way to do it, where you pay the company a certain amount of money for them to come and drill a borehole for you. So this borehole will come with pipes and pipe connections that will supply your household or your company directly with water. So that's one way of doing it. But to start this kind of business, you will need the necessary equipment. You need the smaller equipments that are used for site surveying to find where exactly the water is. Because you cannot just drill randomly, you have to identify the right spot for the drilling to take place. Furthermore, you need the actually heavy duty instruments or equipment rather that will do the drilling. And the drilling will depend on how deep you want your borehole to be. The average depth is 400 meters. So you need an equipment that at least can drill at least 400 meters. So to get this type of drilling equipment, you need about $30,000 to $40,000 at least. This is for a brand new equipment. And remember, these are heavy duty equipment, so they need to be transported. So the smart thing to do will be to buy that equipment with a truck or to buy a mounted equipment, bore drilling equipment that is mounted on a truck already. This will save you large costs of having to hire some truck to transport your equipment to perform your day-to-day business. So buying a truck that is mounted already saves a lot. And if you want something like that, you can get it for around $30,000 to $40,000 if it's brand new. If it's used, maybe if it's been working for about 12 years, 8 to 12 years, then you can find one at a much cheaper cost. Let's say $14,000 minimum. And these costs, the source of these costs are Alibaba. Alibaba is where we got these quotations. But there are many other places where you can find such equipment, such as a website that is called Made in China. If you just search up Made in China, you will find whatever you need, whatever industrial equipment that you need. So that was our source of our quotations. But remember, these costs or these quoted prices are just for the equipment. You need to find money to ship that equipment. And upon shipping, you need to pay money to clear that equipment for it to enter the country. So you see, this is a lot of money that is required for this business. But once you get started, you're guaranteed to generate a lot of money. Another option when it comes to water is the water delivery services. Some people don't want to drill boreholes for one reason or another, so they opt to buy water on a constant basis. For example, in this situation, you will have to buy a tank, 1,000 liter tank, whatever you need, whatever suffices the need that you have in store for the water. You buy your tank, and on a regular basis, you fill that tank up with water that you will be buying. So in this type of business, you need to have a constant and a steady and a reliable source of water where you'll be getting that water, and then you need a truck which has mounted tanks on it. There are some trucks that come plain, but there are professionals that are able to mount tanks on these trucks to suit the purpose of the water delivery business. Once you have that truck, which you might need maybe a 20 to 40 ton truck, depending on the load that you expect to carry to people. So a 20-ton truck might do, and the average price of a 20-ton truck, brand new one, online, it's about the same, maybe $30,000 to $50,000 is what I can recall. So that's the cost that you need, and then you need to mount the tanks on that truck. So these businesses require a lot. These are heavy businesses for the big boys, to be frank. But once you have that set up, then you're good to go. You will be able to transport water from one place to another easily. So you need a reliable source of water. So there are many ways to do it. You might get your water from somewhere, and you will need a distiller to make sure that the water is clean. Or you might get a borehole, a very deep borehole, and source your water from that borehole and then just supply to people. So that is the water business in a nutshell. What's next? The next subject of discussion is the waste business. We all consume a lot of products, and whatever we consume produces waste, and that waste has to be discarded at one point or another. We cannot accumulate waste at some corner. That waste has to be discarded, or else it will cause a potential hazard. So this is a very, very good business that not a lot of people want to get involved in. Why? Because it's kind of tricky, because you need a designated dump site. You need access to a designated dump site where you carry and dispose all the material that you have collected, or the waste material that you have collected. And to gain access to such sites is not for everyone. Not everyone is granted that access because of the nature of the business, the sensitivity of the business. So you need to liaise with the city council or the whatever council runs wherever you live in your country, and you have to make up in arrangement with them so that you can give you access to a proper spot. Once you have access to a spot, all you need is a truck that is able to tip over the waste that it collects. And such trucks cost about, like all these trucks, these businesses, the reason why we join these businesses, because they kind of need the same amount of money. We're talking about $30,000 to $40,000 for such trucks that are able to carry such waste. But some people have a smaller market or a smaller clientele, so they opt for smaller trucks, maybe 10-ton trucks that they utilize to collect waste and dispose it at designated areas. So that's the waste business, and it is a business that is in high demand since the city council again cannot provide reliable services. So people are going private. People are opting for private options. And once in such a scenario, you make a lot of profits because your services will be on demand, on high demand. So that means that every day you're doing business and you're collecting money and you're making money. So that's the waste business in a nutshell. We're moving on to the energy business. So the main contenders in the energy business today, as we speak, is the solar business and the gas business. So the solar business is because, again, the public services are not able to provide enough electricity as demanded by the population. So people are now going solar so that they can have energy sources whenever they want, so that they can be convenienced to live their lives however they want. They may be free to live their lives, with reliable sources of energy, which is needed for our day-to-day lives. For electricity, solar to electricity, that's the main source of energy. And to get started in that business, you just need maybe a lump sum of $10,000 so that you can get the necessary equipment. And you need people who are skilled, people who are trained to handle electric engineering, maybe electrical engineers that may be able to do the setup and make the necessary connections for you to get going. So that's what you need. And gas business. So a lot of people are trickling into this business, but it was realized that, hey, this is a very sensitive business because biogas is very flammable, and if it's handled without due care, it may cause explosions that may hurt a lot of people. So there are now a lot of regulations for such businesses, specifically the biogas business. So people are not able, you need certain licenses to get started in these businesses that are not easy to get, but it's very lucrative because, again, people need constant and reliable sources of energy, and people are now opting for these alternatives rather than the traditional electricity provided by certain companies. People are now opting for gas to cook, and everyone needs to cook so that they may eat. So this sums up, these are the top businesses in the WWE businesses in Zimbabwe, and they are guaranteed to give good returns. We'll make videos in the future where we'll be more specific on each and every business, but this is a rundown of the WWE business on a surface level of what you need to know and where you need to look at. Thank you for your time. This is Tanaka Rodney Chindomi. If you like what you see, share, like, and subscribe. Thank you.